Hello, communities here. Let's talk about the Multiversity Mastermen number 1 by Graham Morrison. Well, the Multiversity has been on a roll lately, isn't it? I mean, every issue has delivered the goods, aside from some mistakes like the Just. And even that, it wasn't really bad. It was just not as good as the other chapters. So in comparison, who's the Mastermen first? Well, once again, let's focus on the story first. The issue opens with Hitler taking a dump. That's right, he's reading a comic and taking a dump. This works even better if you know the context. You see, one of Morrison's first works was called The New Adventures of Hitler, where he satirized Hitler. He made fun of him a lot. And here it's no different. Hitler is portrayed borderline compulsive, pretty nervous, and almost incompetent. Poor Hitler. What did he even do to Morrison? But anyway, it results that Hitler has just found that a baby has arrived in the planet. And I guess you know where this is going. The baby is from Krypton, and he becomes this universe version of Superman, Overman. And this is actually connected to Final Crisis. You see, Overman was one of the Superman that helped in that event. And in this issue, Superman is having nightmares about the death of his cousin, Overgirl. Who is this universe version of Supergirl? Overgirl actually died, I believe, in the first issue of Final Crisis. Overman discovered her body in the final issue. He's still grieving about her death. This is one of the things I like about this. It portrays Overman in a pretty sympathetic light. You see, he actually regrets his previous actions, about how he was basically a tyrant. He has a pretty shallow relationship with this version of Lois Lane, or I believe this version of Lois Lane. She basically doesn't love him, she just loves the power that he brings. About the rest of the superheroes here, or superheroes, quote unquote, there is Leatherwing, who is a version of Batman, Underwater Man, who is this version of Aquaman, the Martian, who is this universe version of Martian Manhunter, among others. They are not as well explored, but they are interesting enough. The thing about this universe is that it's in constant conflict with the freedom fighters. You see, this is inspired by, I believe the name was Planet X, where the freedom fighters were in a never-ending fight against the Nazis. And here, the Nazis actually won. So the freedom fighters have basically became a terrorist group. They are actually working with this universe version of Dr. Sivana, who has the technology of the multiverse. He's apparently one of the Sivanas who appeared in Thunderworld. He managed to create Uncle Sam's own army of metahumans. You see, there is Black Condor, the Ray, Phantom Lady, Dollman and Dollgirl. Oh, and the Human Core. And he becomes one of the most important characters here. You see, the freedom fighters are not really portrayed as good guys, because they're basically as dangerous as the people they're fighting against. there's apparently no good side here, because the freedom fighters are terrorists. They start killing people and they don't care. They just care about their side. The human bomb does a final strike against the Justice League satellite. He brings the satellite down. And that managed to kill a lot of people, which consisted mostly of, well, Overman survived the attack, but the rest of his people didn't. And at the end of the issue, he starts grieving for that reason. Overall, this was mostly his Overman story, about how he's continually losing, and how he apparently feels like he deserves this. In that case, it's a pretty good story about the character, but about the story itself, it's not so plot heavy, I would say. It's not as compelling as the previous issues. It doesn't really offer really creative ideas or anything like that. It's a well-told story, but nothing groundbreaking. In terms of the artwork, Jim Lee is an artist and his art looks pretty good. I mean, he's famous for his superhero style, classic superhero style. But I never thought that Jim Lee's style was really good for storytelling, because he doesn't usually follow the script really well. However, in this issue, he actually does a pretty good job at following the story. The comedic scenes are really good. The most serious and dramatic segments are also well depicted, so I have no complaints about that. So overall, I would say that this is a solid chapter from this event, but it's not as good as the previous ones, or as the best. I would recommend you to read it if you are interested in Overman. Yeah, go check it out.